Welcome to Tosun Blue View. Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. I got David and Max here, and that flub was not planned at all. So, guys, we thought it would be a good idea to have a conversation about Cenk Tosun, but not just about Cenk Tosun, but about the Turkish football fans, all right? Because it's been, well, just to kind of give you an idea. He had a great game this weekend. If you've been living under a rock, he got 2 goals at the weekend. We won 2-1, wonderful times. And Edward, who is on our channel, posted an instant match reaction, and they were chanting Tosun's name. That video got 13,000 views, and it's still counting. And our Tosun-based videos have a total of over 25,000 views. Okay, the Turkish fans are really supportive of Tosun in the Premier League. Okay, and hence they're also really supportive of Everton. And I mean, our subs for our channel are up thanks to Tosun supporters, the Turkish football fans. I mean, it's been great. There have been calls. A lot of Everton supporters have said they want to see a Besiktas Everton friendly, and a lot of Everton supporters have come out and said, "Look, I want to go to Besiktas and see a game. I want to see a match there." So it's beginning to be a reciprocal thing, which is awesome.
An affiliation, you'd probably call it. An affiliation.
Yes, an affiliation, yes. So Edward, by the way, for the Turkish football fans who are watching, Edward has asked me to tell everybody thank you. The kind Turkish football fans have been watching all his stuff and subbing, and they've said a lot of nice stuff to him. So that's my message to you from him. He appreciates it. And thanks for us as well, just saying. So let's talk about this. Have you guys ever seen, let's say, English fans feel that way about one of their own who has gone to another country and performed well?
No, because I feel like we're a lot more loyal towards our clubs rather than individual players, and I think it's a lot more common for British to have ill wishes towards players who leave, particularly on bad terms, to clubs in a different country, etc. But just on the Turkish fans, I think the reason why it's such a boom really is that a lot of the Turkish players that have played in the Premier League before were really early to mid 2000s, and obviously the phenomena of social media was still in its infancy, if not at all about at that time. So obviously, and of course, I think a lot's down to Cenk Tosun as a person and as a player. I think he's a very much beloved son of Turkish football in a way. Even rival fans seem to have a lot of love for him, and they're very passionate. I feel like they're probably a lot more passionate than the British in certain ways, and they seem to, the way the club colours on the sleeve and the way they support Cenk Tosun, I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's difficult to relate, I think, for British players because not many end up going abroad. If they do, they don't necessarily represent kind of, I don't know, the city that they've come from, because in England certainly you seem to do the rounds at many clubs before you almost break it through to the first team, and then, as Max said, if they leave, chances are it hasn't been on the best of terms. But Besiktas are a massive club, and I think the only maybe, annoyingly for them, that they're always there, European platform every year, but maybe because the Turkish league isn't as strong as the Premier League, that they kind of have to accept that some of these great players like Tosun might end up coming to England. But I think the way they react to it's perfect. They're not bitter about it. They don't hate the player, don't hate the club they're going to. If anything, they embrace it. That they understand in their own right. They're a massive club, but maybe that the league isn't the best. So some players do come to play the trade in England, which is considered one of the best leagues. So yeah, it's great that they embrace it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it, haven't we? When we've seen them come up on the comments and the views, it's been great. And said I had a little soft spot for Besiktas anyway when they knocked Liverpool out of the Europa League a couple of years ago. I enjoyed that one, so I mean, this is fantastic. Thoroughly enjoying seeing them popping up all over our timeline.
See, it's the unity that their country seems to have about the sport. It's like if one of their own goes out, it brings up the entire the football of the entire nation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just that, hey, it brings Besiktas up. It's also Turkish football.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because I do think, like you said, David, I do think they realize the Premier League, more money in that league, stronger league overall if you go from top to bottom. Although I will say there are some Turkish teams that would definitely be stronger than some of the Premier League teams, if I'm going to be honest. That is the case. And I do think Turkish league is slowly growing in terms of strength. You know, you see that when you see Besiktas, do well in Champions League. I actually think that first game, if they hadn't gotten that quick red card, I think had that been a tighter game, the second game would have also been tight. I don't know. I think they're an exciting, fun team to watch. But they're not the only team who's done well in Champions League in the past. You'd seen Galatasaray play well in Champions League as well. So I was trying to think of an American athlete who we would compare to this and get really excited about. You know, I immediately jump to Lance Armstrong, but I can't really do that anymore, can I?
Track record.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, the closest thing I can think of currently is Christian Pulisic at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Who is good. He's really good. And we admit that MLS is not as good as Bundesliga because we have brain one. You know what I mean? Like we have a brain, so we know that. But the problem is, the difference is that football is not the big sport in America. So it's not this wild, unbridled passion. We have some people, like I follow Dortmund. I watch Dortmund play because of Pulisic. I do. Yeah. You know, my kid watches sometimes, you know. But I also watch Leipzig for Lookman, but that's another story. But the thing is, like, I get the sentiment. I get where it's coming from. And I do think it raises up American football when he does well. I get that, and I'm passionate about it, but it's not my whole country. You know? Yeah.
I think in a sense, particularly in the case of Pulisic at Dortmund, he almost becomes a poster boy for the country. You know, and I think that's similar to what it is with Tosun at the minute, really. You were saying how impassioned they are about football, and I think the proof of that is Everton. As soon as Tosun came in, Everton set up a Turkish official account, and the numbers on that account have absolutely rocketed. Cause, I mean, it's very central to Tosun and everything that Tosun does, but you know, it's a market that we've really tapped into well, and it's brilliant. You know, it shows the club has the initiative to acknowledge things like this and take advantage of it. But of course, as I say, it's great to see such support, and it's genuine support as well. It's not just specific to Tosun, because we've saw, you know, when he first come in and he struggled to get into the team. You know, the Besiktas fans were very critical in how, and rightly so, because we were just as critical. And you know, it just goes to show they are real football and brains. They're not just impassioned fans. They're really, you know, clued in about the game and know what they see.
And they were very critical of the service he was getting.
That's the only thing I've found a little bit frustrating, that they've come in when we've been so poor. You know, loved us to be at the level I think we should be, and we have been previously, and then, you know, they're stuck watching us putting in these performances under Allardyce. But hopefully they stick around and long enough to see us being something more than that.
And I think they understand that. A lot of times what you see is they mention tactics and they mention lack of service, and a lot of times it's due to tactics. And that makes sense, and I think we'd all agree with that for the most part. Yeah. I mean, it's tough for a big target man who is great one-touch finisher to get a lot of goals if he's not being given anything, or if he's being isolated up there by himself. Man, I just haven't seen anything like it before. I really haven't. You know, I mean, what, the U.S. curling team at the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have anything like this. It's pretty amazing, and it's very clear that they have some other really good players from their country who are currently in other leagues. You know, in Serie A, in Bundesliga. I mean, there are good players from Turkey in those leagues. Yeah. And I think just the idea of making sure they're fairly represented in those leagues because they have talent. I mean, right now, Cenk Tosun is the only Turkish player in the Premier League. There's no others, which is kind of fascinating to me. But because of this, there's going to be more.
Yeah,
there's definitely going to be more. So I'm glad we're the ones that took the chance on one right now. It's really cool. I've had people from Turkish football fans sending me direct messages on Twitter and all kinds of stuff. It's just, they're for real, you know? Guys, do you have any other thoughts on this? It's the kind of thing I haven't seen a lot of in my life. It's just unique.
Yeah. Tosun Pasha.
Yes. Or the way I've got Snowsun Pasha. That's right. My wordplay is shameful. I'm sorry. I'll get my coat. Anyway, I guess that's it for our... I mean, I don't really have a clever name for this. The Everton, Tosun, Besiktas phenomenon. Yeah, that's the best thing I got. So that's it. If you are liking our videos, thanks. Because we're going to keep making them. Yeah, we're close to 600 subs. So please give us a sub, and chances are we'll be talking about something you have an opinion about. You know? Also, these two guys that I'm talking to, they're writers. They do a lot of analysis. They know what they're talking about. They do it on the Toffee Blues website, and also David does some for the Sportsman as well. I trust them most of the time. So I guess that's it. We're going to go. Thanks, guys, and we're going to go make more videos. So bye.